45 grams of weight on the scale, and then a soft, slightly flexible nib. Whether these two characteristics go together is exactly what we'll look at now. Hello, my name is Chris, and this is Writing Delight. On the Hugo Boss Meridien Gun, the design is primarily defined by the embossed pattern. The Hugo Boss logo is embossed on the finial. The line pattern of the barrel and cap alternates. The lines run in one direction in one field, and the next field features a 90 degrees rotated variant as a cross pattern. According to the manufacturer, this is supposed to be an interpretation of a herringbone pattern. Honestly, I wouldn't have come up with that on my own. The feel, however, is surprisingly pleasant. The pen feels significantly smoother on the touch than it looks. You hardly notice the texture in everyday use. For the first size comparison, I have the Visconti Homo sapiens, the Diplomat Viper, the Pelikan M800 model striped, the Diplomat Skyline, and the Lamy Safari here. Closed as well as open, the Hugo Boss sits right in the middle compared to these models. If you pose the cap on the back, the picture changes. It is then the shortest fountain pen in this round. Under the microscope, the workmanship reveals itself in detail. Looking at the embossed lines, you can see that they do not run perfectly straight but have slight bumps. However, that is only really noticeable on the high magnification. The real highlight is the nib. Compared to earlier models from the brand, it is significantly larger. Yet its design remains typically clean and simple for Hugo Boss. The cap sits quite firmly and requires some force when pulling it off. An important aspect is the cap mechanism during uncapping and capping. The cap gains guidance and protection quite late, which can cause it to wobble slightly. Especially when you pull it off or cap it with more force, accidentally tilting the cap is entirely possible. In any case, this happened to me during testing, and the inner lining or the edge left fine scratches on the grip section. But that doesn't have to happen to others, especially if you are aware of it. You should simply make sure to guide the cap as straight as possible when uncapping and capping. The grip section itself is slightly concave and offers a good hold thanks to the subtle pronounced stoppering. The fingers do not slide forward on the smooth metal. Unposted, the heavy weight of the breastbody is very well balanced in the hand. If you pose the cap on the back, the center of gravity shifts noticeably rearward. For large hands, the pen still sits well in the hand despite this back heaviness. For smaller hands, however, the weight in the back area might become a bit too much over the time. In the second size comparison, I have here the Clio Scribent Aurora Laguna Dragon, the Diplomat Aero, the Waldmann Grandeur, the Diplomat Nexus, and the Hanemühle Bold. Closed and open, the Meridien Gun remains roughly at the same height as the other models. With the cap posted on the back, only the Nexus is shorter, though with that model the cap cannot be posted at all. Let's move on to the writing sample. The large stainless steel nib writes very pleasantly. It glides smoothly with the paper and gives only minimal, controlled feedback. What really surprised me in my test is that this nib has a light but noticeable flex. This is certainly due to the new, larger nib that is now featured on several models, and it offers significantly more give than what I'm used from Hugo Boss. This makes it very easy to achieve beautiful line variation while writing. By the way, it's filled here with the matching Hugo Boss Night Black ink. And this is exactly where the opening question gets answered. The 45 grams that at first suggested a firm, hard writer don't get in the way of the smooth writing and light flex at all. The mass rests calmly in the hand while the nib gives slightly. The technical specifications will be displayed now. As always, you can also find them below in the video description. All in all, I really like the Hugo Boss Meridien Gun. The appearance is, of course, always a matter of taste. but the feel in everyday use is convincing, and it came as a surprise. I had expected to feel this pattern much more strongly. For its heavy weight, it sits astonishingly well in the hand. Above all, the writing behavior convinced me. The interplay of the smooth glide and the light flex on the new large nib is simply a joy in everyday use. The only minor downside is the cap tilting when uncapping and capping. Something you can easily avoid with a bit of care. I use the fountain pen very intensively during my test, not just for writing. And for me, it is a successful, reliable writing instrument. How do you like these heavier models? Feel free to let me know in the comments. A big thank you to Hugo Boss for providing the test sample, and thank you all so much for watching. See you next time.